All right, everyone, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter lecture video here. I'm not going to worry too much about the science of psychology because this will all be covered in Psychology 1B if you're a psychology major when you take it. And if not, if you're a science major, you'll have other science classes you could take. And if you're not a science major, then I don't know, maybe it's not that big of a deal for you. So there are a couple things I do want to go over real quickly because it is kind of important and there is a little bit of a kind of a fun homework assignment that we're going to have over it. And that's just explaining the differences between the different types of variables. So let me scroll down here. We're going to start right here and we're going to talk about variables. A variable is any event, situation, behavior, or individual characteristic that can change or have more than one value. And this is something that we also talk about in the Psych 5 class, the statistics class. We'll go over this a lot in that class too. So don't worry. If you don't understand it very well right now, you will by the time you get your degree in psychology from Merced College. So you'll be well prepared when you get to the four-year universities. So first we have what are called dependent variables. These are the variables that are measured. This is the score that you get. So for example, if I take the SAT, the actual score on the SAT is my dependent variable. So whenever you do a research study, it could be the number of times a rat presses a lever. It could be the speed at which the rat runs through a maze to find a piece of cheese. Those are all the different dependent variables. Where some people get kind of confused is with independent variables. These are the manipulative variable. This is the variable that changes in the research study. So for example, if I want to find out what type of drug is most effective for treating Alzheimer's disease, for example, or depression or anxiety, whatever it may be, the different types of drugs I give are going to be the independent variable. And so what's going to happen is that the levels will be the different amounts or the different kinds of that variable. So for example, I could have different types of drugs. I could have different amounts of the drug, like different dosage levels, okay? And then maybe if I'm measuring anxiety, it could be a score on an anxiety scale would be the dependent variable. Or if I want to see if drugs have an effect on your memory ability, the score on a memory test would be the dependent variable, and the type of drug or the amount of drug I give would be the independent variable. So it's not that difficult as long as you understand the basic definitions, okay? The basic idea here is that we want to see whether the independent variable will cause a change in the dependent variable. So does the type of drug affect your anxiety levels? Does the type of reinforcement schedule a rat is placed on change the number of times they press a lever? Will the type of reading program a child receives change their reading scores? So that's how this works. It's not that difficult. It's pretty straightforward. There are a couple of other types of variables that you should be aware of. We're not going to talk about these in a homework assignment, but just for future reference, we have control variables. These are potential extraneous variables or potential independent variables kept at constant at one level. So I'll give you an example here. An extraneous variable is a confounded variable. This is a variable that's not of interest that can cause a change in the dependent variable. So for example, if I want to determine what type of drug causes a bigger change in your depression levels, one potential extraneous variable could be whether or not the patients or the subjects also receive psychotherapy. Because here, psychotherapy can also change your depression scores independent of the type of drug you receive. So in that case, the extraneous variable would be receiving psychotherapy. To control for that, I would make sure that nobody receives psychotherapy. That way it's controlled for and it cannot influence your depression levels. If I want to find out what type of reading program has a bigger effect on reading scores, a potential extraneous variable could be the teacher. Maybe some teachers are better than others. Maybe some teachers will improve the reading scores just because they're more effective at teaching the material. So in that case, I would want to use the same teacher in both conditions. So in both types of reading programs, we're going to have the same teacher, so that way I can control the effects of the teacher. And so if there's any changes, it's just due to the reading program. So anyways, that's just a quick look at the different types of variables that we have. If you have questions, once again, just let me know in the Zoom meeting. let me know in the on the Pronto or on the Q&A discussion board. And remember, when you do the homework assignment, it's not graded. As long as you do it and participate and let me know that you did it, you're still going to get full credit for it. It's just a good way to try to practice so that we have some understanding for when we get to Psych 105 or Psych 1B.